Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wait What Do We Talk About podcast, episode 229. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you catch this podcast over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011. You drop a follow over there, you'll get notified if we go live. You join on the fun and conversation with us, but if you can't catch it live, or we don't go live, you can go over to YouTube, just search Enigma9011. You can find the podcast over there, either broken out in pieces, with Moose, or out in full the following week. Last but not least, any way you can support the show. Like, shares, subscriptions, reviews, Moose pets, whatever it is. It may seem small, but does help the channel grow. So if you take the time to do that, we would love and appreciate you for it. Now, as I fix everything while I semi-butcher that intro. Hope everybody's doing well. No, it's been a little while for the podcast, but we're back. We're going to be catching up on, for the topics today, catching up on wrestling stuff as we usually do, but we're going to kick off and start off with the Game Awards from this year. As recording happened last week, so we're going to be talking about Game Awards, the reveals there, as well as Day of the Devs, and talking some fun indies as well. So let's start off with Day of the Devs. So they had a show just before Game Awards, the day before. Whoop, there you go, Moose. So talking about some indies that are upcoming, releasing soon, or maybe even out now. I just wanted to talk and gush about those a little bit. So the first one that caught my attention was quite a big one. A very fun surprise. We have the announcement of Ultimate Sheep Raccoon. Yes, you heard that right. So the makers of Ultimate Chicken Horse now have a spiritual successor, as they like to call it, for Ultimate Chicken Horse with Ultimate Sheep Raccoon. Oh my goodness, that is going to be tough going back and forth between those two. But it has very similar gameplay mechanics, at least upon viewing, of Chicken Horse with the platforming. You get different obstacles and objects that you can add to the course in between rounds to either help you or hinder your opponents to reaching the end first. The gimmick here now is, instead of you running and platforming along, it is now you're all riding bicycles and racing to the finish. It's going to be interesting to see how movement works in this. Obviously, with you on the bike, the start-stop motion, maneuvering around, all that jazz. But it looked very fun. No update on release or anything like that. Selfishly, I'm kind of hoping for Extra Life next year that's out. I think that would be a fun surprise for a lot of people who've enjoyed Ultimate Chicken Horse and maybe aren't, keeping their eyes and ears open to the game world all the time. So that'll be a nice, fun surprise. But regardless, very exciting to see. Obviously, they had a lot of success with the first game that they put out. Hopefully, they have continued success with this next one. Next was a game called Sleight of Hand, an action stealth deck builder. Yes, quite the combination of game types there. Interesting art style here. It was noir themed. You're a detective who's coming out of retirement to kind of take down the people that she had worked with as they get corrupt. A lot of comparisons, or what was the, not comparisons, influence. The developer was influenced by Metal Gear, and Dishonored was two of the game types that they brought up, and I can definitely see that Dishonored theming. I think it draws a lot of comparisons too. So you are going around and trying to figure out how to either take out guards in your way or how to maneuver against them. And the way this comes into play is through the cards. So the cards have different actions, whether it's to create a smoke bomb or create a trap for the guards to get trapped by, and your movement abilities as well. So you kind of have to strategize how you're going to tackle each of the rooms, each of the levels, to get farther along and throughout to, achieve your objective. Seems pretty cool. I wasn't sure how those game types were going to mesh together, but they had a nice little demo portion along with their announcement and trailer that I think they did a good job explaining. It seems like you'll have quite a bit of freedom as well in order to mess around, explore with your different options of how you want to tackle things. Next one for me, something out today. Well, today, as they release the video. It's a game called Lock Digital. It's a puzzle word game. So apparently this was a book that was already out And a game developer had reached out to that artist and author and asked if they could make it a game, so now they have it. I think we have seen this before, or maybe we've talked about it before in one of the other indie shows, but now with it being out, they had another trailer for it. Seems real interesting. You start, it's kind of crosswordy esque, where there's all these letters that are just piled together in the different puzzle formats that they give you, and you need to find words that you know, not real words, but words that you have discovered in this new language that the game has provided to you. You find it in there, and you need to fill all of the white tiles in this puzzle and make them black. So for example, the word that you start off with in the game is lock, L-O-K. So if you find that and you're able to make it with the letters available, then you can get a free like ink out spot, so you can ink a black spot out, or maybe a letter that you can't use and because you don't know a word with it yet, and you're just working on, like I said, filling in all the bubbles and the squares of the grid there to complete the level to move on. Seems interesting. I enjoy puzzle games, even though I may suck at them from time to time, and this seems like one of those things you can just pop into. I think they said they'll have daily puzzles as well, which is kind of nice. So interested to jump into that and see if I can wrap my brain around formulating these words here and there. Another one that I saw was Curiosmos. It's like Cosmos with Curious at the beginning. Curiosmos. Sorry. Where it reminded me a lot of Spore, if you guys remember that game from, 10 years plus now at this point, where you kind of started at this little cell organism and you evolved into these space traveling creatures. Well, this was, instead of the creature side of things, you are creating a solar system and the planets around it. So you gather stardust and you start mashing it all together to form a planet, and then on that planet you can zoom in and you have to like cultivate it essentially to kind of try and harvest life that will then go through the whole evolutionary process there, and you're building the solar system as you please, but ultimately that's the goal. And then apparently it was revealed that there's a black hole that's like light years away that's slowly traveling towards you to like consume your solar system. So with the help of a little satellite buddy, you got to try and figure out how to prevent that from happening and protect the things that you've built. So it seemed neat and fun little kind of sandboxy adventure in terms of like creating stuff. Looking forward to jumping into that. Next one, another one. I apologize for the pronunciation of the name. Inkanbini. You are running a convenience store in Japan. Like a little grocery store, you're helping out your aunt, stock shelves, organize it however you want to, interact with the customers and learn more about their individual stories through the conversations you have, the products they buy, whatnot. Seemed like a nice, chill, cozy game as the developer was describing it. Lo-fi music behind it and whatnot. Seems like there's been quite a few of these games that have been popping up of that cozy store manager. I know there's a lot of management sim games out there, like what was big this year, like Hotel Manager and Grocery Store Sim and stuff like that. So this kind of fits along with that, but there'll be some narrative beats alongside of it that you can further explore as you're going through. So as you guys know, I like to have multiple games going on, one really focused and then that other one that I always mention it, like turn off your brain. This seems something that would fit that niche of just relax, listen to a podcast at the same time, or do something at the same time. Vibe out to turn off your brain from the world. This seems something that would really check that box, so I'm looking forward to that. The last one, there were other announcements as well, but the last one that caught my attention, unfortunately isn't out until 2026, but it makes sense as of why it is Feltopia. It's a handcrafted stop motion shoot 'em up. They called it a cute 'em up. So it's similar to stop motion claymation that we've seen in the past. This is similar in terms of that work style, so that once again explains why it'll be a little while till we see it. But this is all made with felt and yarn and is done in that stop motion animation style, which they showed a lot in this reveal here. It's very, very impressive. But it's the side scroller shoot 'em up like your Cupheads and all the arcade games of old. But you are taking your little, what was the character called? They like ride on this magical creature, and then you have magical sheep that are part of your flock that have powers to help you. But you are essentially cleaning up and cleansing creatures that have been corrupted by this evil goo poison. So you're doing that and healing the world around you. Looked like a lot of fun, and like I said, very impressive in terms of the art style. Highly recommend everybody goes check that out. So once again, Feltopia, not till 2026 at the moment, but looked very cool. So for Day of the Devs, a lot of cool indies that we have to look forward to. Glad that they are getting their spotlight, especially around this time of year with Game Awards. Hopefully, with people looking forward to the main show, they'll be like, oh, there's this other thing in conjunction. That's the word of the day. Announced with that. We can get more eyes on the indie scene because there's a lot of good stuff, as we saw with this year's releases out there. And a lot of projects, and we want to support those devs, especially with how unfortunate this year's been for a lot of studios. Even worse than last year, unfortunately. Well, that's a shitty segue, but let's go into the main Game Awards. A lot of good and fun reveals this year. I thought overall Jeff did a better job with the show, and it seems like a lot of people are thinking that. In terms of the awards, not the winners. Winners regardless, I don't have... Well, my opinion doesn't matter much. I thought everybody deserved their spot, so there's nothing there. In terms of the time given to the awards, that definitely was a bit iffy. I will say on a positive, it didn't feel like anybody was rushed off stage, or there was the please wrap it up that, we kind of hankered on last year a lot, because that had happened here and there. It felt like either A, everybody got their time, or B, it was really well tightly knit together where no one once again felt rushed off stage. But there weren't that many awards that were given that time for a developer, a lead game director, whoever to come up and talk about their games. I think in the main show, people who would come up and talk, it might have been single digits. Maybe 5 or 6 got actual speeches. And it was a lot of rapid fire in terms of the awards. They did quite a few in the pre-show, as they typically do. There were a few more quick speeches there. But then, there was a few times where Jeff was just rapid fire, this one. So that is what it is. I guess that's just what this is. There's other game awards that will give a little bit more time to those devs to talk about it. I know Golden Joysticks was a few weeks ago. I don't know when. Why'd you start talking, Bret, when you didn't have it in your mind? I'm thinking and I can't think of it. There's another Game Awards that it's like upper tier that happens all the time that I feel is more focused on the devs there and the speeches, and obviously not the announcements in comparison. Nope, not coming to mind. And then for the first time this year, just a little shout out. I've talked about it a few times on stream, but go check out 6-1 Indie and the Indie Game Awards. As this podcast releases, it will be dropping Thursday. So if you're watching this in parts, it'll be coming up. And if you're watching in full, it already happened. But go support those guys. They're doing Indie Game Awards for the first time this year. Them with... I am just mush-brained today. Where do they work? Vicarious. They got support from Vicarious, and it seems like they're collaborating with a lot of other indie, not studios, but like promoters and media and whatnot. So they're going to be doing the Indie Game Awards. and focusing on those developers there and rewarding them for their hard work. So go support them. Like I said, the show will air on Thursday, but you can go check out the site and all that stuff whenever, but please go do that. All right, so getting into all the reveals, not all of them, but the reveals that caught my attention from the Game Awards. So we started off with a pre-show. We did have, the first one there was one called One Move Away, coming out next year. Looked like, drew a lot of comparisons to unpacking, but you are actually repacking. You're packing your car over and over again, and it's a puzzle game of fitting everything just perfect, as we always hope to do when we do these moves, and not miss any parts and be like, nah, I don't want to rent a van or do anything like that. I can pack it in my car. No biggie. Interesting game there with the puzzle mechanics. It seems like they're doing similar to what unpacking did, with like a unspoken narrative, where it will just be these moves over time. We'll get to see how our character's life goes on, grows, how they grow as an individual through the items that they may be packing. We'll have to see. But once again, cozy vibes. Weird that an organizational thing that you hate to do in real life would be something comforting or exciting to do in a game, but it works. Looking forward to One Move Away. Next one, just a quick fun one. Dave the Diver got more DLC announced. In the Jungle, coming out late 2025, I believe they said. Still a game I haven't personally dove into with Dave the Diver, but I have enjoyed watching people play it. So just excited that that game is getting more content for people who want to dive into that. How many times did I say dive? Weird one. I just put a little note by this because I wanted to talk about it. Shadow Labyrinth is a very weird twist on Pac-Man. And no, not like, oh, it's like Pac-Man. It is Pac-Man. You're a ninja guy going through, platforming around, and little Pac-Man is following you around. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Apparently this is tied into the secret level episodes that have been airing on Amazon right now, which are each episode is a different game, and it's more of the story or just a fun what if type of scenario. There's a Sifu episode, there's a God of War episode, there's a Concord RIP episode. Apparently this ties in with that. Just I had that what the fuck moment when this aired. I was like, okay. So yeah, I just wanted to shout out that was interesting. Then we got to the main show. We had two huge releases or announcements right off the bat. We did have Witcher 4 being revealed. No date on that, so that's probably down the line, which is a little unfortunate. I think I've talked about it before with these Game Award shows. Obviously, yes, it's exciting and fun to see what's down the road. And oh my god, Mass Effect and... of course, other big games that have been revealed, but then, most famous one, Elder Scrolls 6. You get these reveals for them, and then they're years and years away, and it's there's nothing. There's nothing here. There's nothing to be excited about. I'm just going to be sitting here for a while. I get building up the hype, but to me, I would rather have something be announced, and then it is in that calendar year, or soon after, you know what I mean? So I could be excited, but I see the finish line in sight. It's just getting to that point. So with Witcher, very impressive. I could see it coming out this year. I don't think it's anything egregious, or see it coming out soon. I don't think it's egregious and super out of the bounds of possibility. However, we have no idea. No dates were announced or anything like that. We've seen obviously the success with Cyberpunk and how they've adapted that since its initial release. Yikes. They don't want to run into that situation again, especially with a franchise that's established with Witcher. I don't have much stake in the game. It's something I do want to get back into, Witcher 3 and Wild Hunt. I tried it, got to the Griffin fight, which is very early, got to that, then saw the map just go and all these dots pop up, and me being silly because there's plenty of open world games that do that, but just being no, that's too much, I'm not into that right now, and then not going back to that experience. I know I'm missing out on a great game. I'm excited for Witcher fans here. I know Papa Griff played Witcher 3. I don't know if once or if he's revisited that, but excited for him to potentially jump into this one when it does come out, and all the other Witcher fans. Seems like we'll be focusing on Ciri this time, and it seems like the internet is breaking because of that, and they are dumb for these very stupid opinions of, oh, it's a woman, oh, it's this, yeah. Shut up. If it's a great game with a great story and it's fun to play, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter who the main character is. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent. Witcher 4 looks very pretty. The reveal trailer, excited for those people. Fans of that. Then we got the next release was the other big hitter. Something that is coming out this year is Elden Ring Night Reign. So apparently this is a standalone game, not a DLC expansion similar to Erdtree that had come out this year. It is a co-op game. I know articles have come out. I guess a lot of influencers and content creators and media has gone out and played a little bit of this game already. But from what I'm understanding, it is a roguelike survival type of game. I could be wrong there, so of course, please do your research if you're interested. But it's across the span of 3 days. You are in the world of Elden Ring, either solo or with 2 co-op friends, going out fighting the evils, the monsters there. I don't know if you're gathering resources, but there must be something that you're gaining from that. Maybe it's just experience and levels up to then build up to either day 3 or day 4, however it works out. Some big boss that you will fight. Some characters, it seems, returning from Elden Ring or new ones, as well as returning characters from other Souls games. I believe the big one that we saw here that was revealed, and I didn't know when watching it, but I went back and watched Yo Video Games react to this. Some big dragon character, or dragon, with a character riding on it with like lightning and whatnot. Apparently that's a returning boss from Dark Souls 3. So it seems like that is the case there. Coming out 2025. So excited for Elden Ring, or Souls players and Elden Ring fans to jump into that. Obviously, the co-op experience would be kind of nice. How they balance that out with everybody, we'll have to see. But fun one there. Next one that caught my attention was something called Catly. Didn't really get much from it. Looked kind of AI trailery, which is a little concerning. Don't know if it's VR, AR, but it was a lot of cute cats hanging out. So I'll shout out that. I'm also going to shout out another game I haven't personally played, but once again, I know others have played and enjoyed. Outer Worlds 2 got announced and is coming out next year. So the studio that made Fallout New Vegas, they split off and kind of made their own Fallout-esque game with Outer Worlds 1. So cool to see a second one here. And then that franchise is doing well. Seemed goofy, which is also fun too, bringing their little comedy to that. Another sequel that was announced, I didn't expect, but I know Jeff Reg will be very excited about. I still need to message him on that. Is The Long Dark 2. That got revealed from Black Frost Studios. So, hey, or maybe it's Black Frost is the subtitle. Black Frost might be the subtitle. Excuse me there. One for me that I'm excited about, even though I haven't completed some of the more recent games, but Borderlands 4 got its game footage revealed, and it is coming out in 2025 as well. Seems like we're on Pandora again, ? But it story trailer showed the Raiders. No, not the Raiders. The what are they called? Not maybe it is bandits. Whatever the evil people are, the goons that we always deal with. It seemed like them warring against almost the Prometheans or an alien-like species that is there, all warring along, probably fighting over the vault. We had our 4 heroes. We got a little reveal of them. I don't think we got much of their abilities, but we did see some returning characters as Zane from Borderlands 3, Claptrap's back. I think those are the only 2 that I recognized. But yeah, just more Borderlands. I've enjoyed the series since the beginning. Played through Borderlands 1 and 2 and pre-sequel all the way through. I think I got to the very end of 3 and just didn't feel like the gameplay loop was keeping me on at that point. And then Tiny Tina's Wonderlands I've tried a few times, enjoy, but it hasn't got as hooks in me fully to play that all the way through. But still excited for Borderlands 4. Definitely seems like an uptick from the movie. Not to take another dump on that, but looking forward to that. Another addition in DLC, personally not excited to play as, or something I've played but excited for others. Clive Rosenfeld from Final Fantasy 16 is now in Tekken 8 as of December 16th. So tomorrow as of recording. That's pretty cool. So hype for that. Another one, Virtua Fighter. Just happy for the fighting game community. Looks amazing there, and cool to see them kind of getting more mainstream, I guess you could say, after 30 years of being around. It'll be fun to see how that game breaks through and kind of makes a statement amongst the rest of the bigger fighting games that have kind of taken the forefront. A lot of cool games announced in between Virtua Fighter and the next game I'm going to talk about, but nothing that personally spoke to me. Next one that called out to me was Stage O Fright from the Overcooked devs. From what I've heard, this is like a co-op Luigi's Mansion type game. Very cute art style, kind of claymation-esque in terms of just the animation style. Absolutely loved Overcooked 1 and 2. And enjoying that experience with friends and family, even though, yes, you are yelling at each other sometimes with the cooking materials. But it seems like this one will be more... I mean, you're always working towards a common goal with cooperative, but it might not be as tense as the other ones in comparison with Overcooked. We didn't get too much. It was highly cinematic and just showing off the game here, the concept. So looking forward to seeing more from that. No announced date there. Next one, I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on the subject material, at least in terms of the television side of things. But Game of Thrones, King's Road was shown off here, coming out in 2025. You are taking control of a non-TV canon character, to my knowledge. A completely new character in the world of Game of Thrones. It does seem like it takes place somewhere in the middle of the season, in the show, probably later, in terms of the elements that were present and the characters, which we did get a few characters that we did see. Jon Snow was in there. Viserys? ? Both the Lannisters were there with Sister Lannister. Man, I have not watched this show in a while. Being on the throne, so it is towards the latter seasons. And the White Walkers are still around, and you are kind of working, it seems, with Jon Snow, part of his crew, to fight against the evils there and go through those adventures. I know the ending of the show didn't really click with a lot of people. I know we talked about it in the past in the podcast here. As time has gone by, I've gotten less critical, about it, and like harsh on it. I thought it was, it's okay. It is what it is. I had a great time with the show and still think of it fondly. It seems like with the game here, with where they are setting it, potentially we could have different outcomes. Maybe it'll feel more fun and interesting to actually be a part of that battle. Looks incredible in terms of graphics, but looking forward to diving into that in 2025 as well. Next one was called Dispatch, also released in 2025. This was if you've played, I think it's from the devs of Wolf Among Us. If not, it is that exact type of gameplay where it is the story happening in front of you, and occasionally you will pop in and make choices of how the narrative and the direction of it is going to take. It is kind of like My Hero Academia in a way, where the world has all these superheroes, but you are a dispatch operator, that's the word, and you are answering these calls and figuring out, okay, I should send this hero to this crime scene, natural disaster, whatever it is, to help these people, and then make these other decisions as you're going along with the relationships you're building and whatnot. Your character seems to also be a former hero, kind of like an Iron Man style, where you had this robotic suit with all these abilities, but you've fallen out of it because I think it was destroyed. So you kind of get that perspective as well of like someone who wants to be out there on the field, but now is helping in a different way. So just a fun story that they're telling here. that I'm looking forward to. Really enjoyed Wolf Among Us. Would like to replay that eventually whenever 2 is popping out. So taking that gameplay style and then making it superhero themed, yeah, it just looks like a lot of fun. Last 2 I'm just going to touch on really, really quick. We got a teaser for Okami 2, so a long-awaited sequel there that nobody thought was coming. I guess that game director had left Capcom, gone over to Platinum Games. Some drama happened there. He left there and is now back with Capcom to work on this project. A lot of people were very excited for it. We streamed Okami a few years ago at this point. Didn't finish it quite. Yeah, didn't get all the way to the end. That game seemed to have kind of multiple endings in terms of like, oh, big chapter ending. Oh, big chapter ending. And it was like, I just got to that point of like, all right, you have these builds. Where's the climax? It should have been done. But other than my little nitpicks there in terms of an end point, the gameplay itself in Okami was very rewarding, very fun, awesome cel-shaded art style. So seeing and hearing the music again with this reveal was just like, oh, that's really cool that that's happening. So I'll have to keep an eye on that. Seems like it's very early stages, as the teaser was just Amaterasu running through the woods in the forest to the reveal of the sun flame thing on her back. So very early stages there. Probably maybe 26 or 27 even. Yikes. But cool to see. The last one, we got Naughty Dog's reveal for their new title, moving on from The Last of Us for now, was Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. So this is the very last reveal. Long CG trailer. Seems the setting is spacebound. Duh, as I said. And you're going planet to planet, and you're kind of like a bounty hunter, it seems, but you're hunting down this one individual. Don't know what your goal and objective is from it. Seems like maybe almost a redemption arc. If you do this, then you'll be able to work your way back into whatever problem you got yourself into. So yeah, CG trailer throughout. Looks interesting in terms of a story and the setting. I've enjoyed my time with The Last of Us. I know I wasn't super invested. Not invested. I didn't get as much out of the first one as a lot of people did, saying it's a masterpiece. 2 was more my jam, and I really enjoyed the story there and the narrative that they were telling. So I'm excited to jump into this at some point. I don't know if I'll be day one, but cool to see them going a different route. I don't think they've had... This is the first OG original IP since Last of Us, which Last of Us 1... What was that, way back in 2013, potentially, with The Last of Us 2 in 2020, and we've seen that they've made the remasters for each of those since then, and we had the TV show, and Last of Us Factions was being worked on, but then that got canceled, so yeah, it's been a little while since they've had something new to the table, so excited to jump into that, and it seems like, at least from what the trailer was showing, combat will be melee-based, with the kind of cyber sword that she did have. So yeah, looks interesting, looks exciting. Looking forward to that. So all in all, I thought the 10th anniversary show was huge for Game Awards. Nothing that made me like super duper excited, amped, like, oh my god, this is happening, and then this is all I can think about in terms of reveals, and I don't know what I was exactly hoping for. I think I talked about it on the live stream with reactions beforehand, but Wolverine would have probably got me there with another reveal like that. But all in all, I am really excited. I know that these were big game announcements for a lot of people, so I'm excited for those audiences. Nothing to me just was like gut punch, whoa, big moment there. But not trying to be like, it's got to be all about me, just in general. Looking forward to the things that they did announce. Hopefully Jeff can continue the success, because obviously this was a high bar year that will, it's going to be hard to follow up on next year. I'd like a little bit more speeches from the Game Award winners, but I get it that this is perhaps just the avenue in the show, how it's framed here. It's more about the announcements than the recognition. I did forget to mention, but I did really respect, one, Jeff acknowledging once again that the game industry does need to change with all the amount of layoffs and whatnot, and awarding a new award this year to a gentleman. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name, but he helps out a lot of people who have lost their jobs in the industry, kind of makes a networking platform and has done it without asking for a dime, and just like this was his way to contribute. So we gave him ample time to speak, and a good presentation on what he does. A lot of the other the media and stuff like that, it seems like with the announcement of Astrobot as Game of the Year, which any of those games could have won, and Astrobot I think was up there for me in terms of like, yes, this was a very rewarding experience. The Larian Studios dev, his speech just before announcing the nominees for Game Awards, like he was given the time to talk about once again also how the industry needs to change, and like the formula for winning Game of the Year, and like how to make a successful game, to obviously last year's winner being Baldur's Gate and the amount of work that went into that and love from the studio, to then Astrobot winning this year, being a small team of 65 working on this, making this fun, rewarding platformer, and not have it be this super meticulous, we got to meet all these deadlines, meet 1 million sales or whatever, crazy sales goal they have, or being on the top cutting edge of technology. I don't know, like obviously those experiences are nice and are cool to see, but it's more about what you take away from the game and that having fun from it than just microtransaction-y, live service, everything's got to be a $sign, that kind of stuff. Cool to see that those experiences that have that substance behind them are being rewarded. Obviously, once again, we've had very rough times in the game industry with last year's layoffs, this year's layoffs. Hopefully, we can start turning that around and not abandon these super AAAs. I'm not saying that, because no, those are very cool and warranted experiences as well, but not everything has to be that. Not everything has to be a live service game. Not everything has to be huge budgetary wise. You could do these smaller experiences. You could do just good narratives. You don't have to do super high graphics, whatever it is. Reward creative people, allow them to see their visions, and hopefully audiences will attach to them. Stuff like that. I don't know. Just it seemed overall like a better vibe from the show coming out of it, and hopefully we continue on that positive growth and change year in and year out. Yeah, high bar for next year. That's all. I enjoyed the show. Hopefully you guys did too. If there was any reveals that you guys saw that caught your attention and you're really stoked for, let me know in the comment section down below or Discord. Let's chat about them. Let's move over to wrestling. We got a lot to catch up on wrestling side of things. Oh boy, since we last talked, we had Survivor Series, we had NXT Deadline. As of last night, we had Saturday night's main event. So just didn't want to deep dive into each show because I know we're already late in reviewing or talking about them. But just wanted to quickly touch here and there on certain things that have happened since last time we talked about wrestling. So let's talk about Survivor Series and War Games. All in all, I thought solid show. It was a good time. I thought both War Games matches were solid. I think the women's match was a little rickety at the start. I know there were some weird chair spots that happened, unfortunately, with Nia. There was some called out spots that happens, got caught up on the mic or whatever. I did really enjoy the creativity in terms of the match later on. We had the big dives. We got the return of the trash can dive from Io. We got the big dive from Tiffany. Both of those were amazing. I wish from a production side of things, those were done separately. They did not jump at the same time. The camera shot, at least that they had live, you missed Tiffany's dive entirely. You went, oh, Io's diving. Oh, crap, go to the wide shot because both dives are happening at the same time. That didn't work out. That wasn't a good presentation, so that was the only thing I thought flopped in that match particularly. Impressive regardless. Io doing a moonsault on the trash can was insane. Woman's talented beyond belief and nuts. I did enjoy wall hokey. I did enjoy the fire extinguisher coming into play. Io running in, making this giant smoke screen, and then the handcuffs coming into play with Raquel. I thought that was genius of, oh, here's this big thing distraction, but everything, there's a lot of things going on in this match at the same time. Usually I don't like handcuff spots, just because, you're trapped. What are you going to do? It's a little silly in my opinion, but I think that one worked out really, really well. Good Guy team would win there. For the men's War Games, I can't think of anything that really stands out in terms of it's something I didn't like. We asked for it, we prayed for it, and it happened. To quote Drew, we wanted the super tsunami, we got the super tsunami, but at what cost? Poor Bronson Reed. I'm glad he got his moment, snapping both of his ankles, I think, or a broken foot or something along those lines. Ew. It's unfortunate. He was on the rise with the story with Seth, with what he was doing with New Bloodline, to eventually what I assume Drew is now doing with Sammy. He got this push. Oh, Braun Strowman as well, excuse me. To see that push and then to have him now be out for a few months / indefinitely is that's a bummer. I've been a fan of Bronson Reed since his NXT days. I know he went over to Japan as Jonah for a little while, was enjoying the monster gimmick there, at least his successes. To then come back, be a little on the down slope, but then to come back recently, I was like, yep, awesome, I'm happy. And then for this, it's like, oh, damn. He seems in high spirits, or at least positive about it, like he got his moment, which is good. Now he gets time to chill with his family for the holidays, which I guess is another positive light we can look at it. Just a bummer that he's going to be out for a little while. I don't know how he could have done that safer. I don't know if pointing his feet backwards, flexing his foot that way, there's no way. I have no idea. But yeah, that landing was nasty. Hopefully he's doing okay. I think he was supposed to go into surgery as of last week, so hopefully he's recovering speedy and he's okay. Another injury that happened, apparently Jimmy Uso broke a toe. So both dives did not go well on the men's side. That's unfortunate. I don't know if he's got a timetable for his injury. His might not be as bad. One just being a toe. I don't know recovery rates. But Drew also attacked him on SmackDown recently. So that could have just been like, hey, we'll beat him up more so he can be away and it's understandable. Or he's okay at least enough to take bumps. He'll be around. We'll see. Jacob Fatu scared the shit out of me with his selling. I thought he was hurt right before Bronson did his thing. Don't do that to me, sir. You're a beast, and we need you around. Don't do it. Good guys did prevail there. Punk and Roman kinda got on the same page. I don't know what this favor Punk has asked for from Heyman is. It would make sense if Roman was champ. Then Punk could be like, I helped you out. I need to be going for that belt now. I have no idea where this is going. I don't know if it's just like, hey, I'm going to cash in this favor. I want you as my manager for an eventual WrestleMania title match against Cody, Seth, whatever the storytelling will get us to. I'm in a haze and confused on that portion specifically. But overall fun. No Rock, no Dwayne. Very surprising. Why the hell did he show up at Bad Blood, give the 3, slit the throat, have his stupid made-up belt on his shoulder? What? There's rumors going around now he might not even be around or active for WrestleMania. Who knows? Maybe we're all getting worked. I guess time will tell once we get to this Netflix debut. There's a lot of rumors there that he was going to show up as well. And we now have the Ulafala Tribal Combat match, Roman versus Solo during that. So a lot of questions about the Bloodline. What's their future? New Bloodline has been attacking
some people on SmackDown, including LA Knight, Andrade, and Apollo Crews, to just be like, oh, we lost, but we're still dominant, that kind of thing. So I guess time will tell there of what's going on bloodline-wise. War Games, I think the only other thing of note, Shinsuke won the U.S. title. Good for him. Would have been very dumb to reintroduce him, give him a whole new gimmick, and then to have him lose. So happy for Shinsuke there. We'll have to see on the success rate of this gimmick, as the black goop from the mouth isn't really great. But regardless, glad he's won. NXT Deadline, another solid show. I'm going to admit I kind of skipped the Lola Vice and Jada Parker match. I don't care for the underground matches. Just not my thing. So that's the only one I actively did not watch, as I was prepping dinner during that time. Both of the Iron Survivor matches were fantastic as they continued. Both of them were rough starts. Very slow starts. You had the men's match where you had Wesley and Javon Evans, Bouncy Boy, starting it off, and they just seemed rough. It, like, very slow paced, kind of like, I don't know what you're doing. We're not in sync here in motion. That was a little weird, especially for what those two guys can do individually and what we've seen them do in matches beforehand. So that was a little odd, but as the match went on, got more exciting for each of them as we grabbed, or rather inserted, new elements in. Obafemi being the surprise fifth entrant after Eddie Thorpe got attacked, as would later be revealed. He attacked himself to get a title match on this upcoming Tuesday NXT. Smart heel tactic turn for Thorpe is neat. I think he should be involved more. But Oba being the fifth man here, cool. Not a huge surprise, just with the rumors. I was like, yeah, it's going to kind of be him. But that man dominated again. He is the Iron Survivor for the men's side of things. On the ladies' side of things, another, once again, slow start with Ren Sinclair and Julia. Got more exciting as the elements popped in. Shout out to Sol Ruka, impressive as ever. God damn, that, like, round off moonsault / backflip over the rope, smooth as hell. God damn. Ren becoming a fan favorite as she's gone through. Unfortunately, just going right back to that penalty box over and over. Excuse me. Zarya looked impressive, and we built her as a threat by having to do the table spot and smash her through there. Stephanie Vaquer killing it, as always. A little surprised by the result here. I'm surprised they're going back to Julia to go against Roxanne. I thought this would have been Stephanie's moment. But, no rush there, I guess. She'll get there when she gets there. But we'll run that back. I assume Julia's got to win. Roxanne has been ready for a while, so let's get her on that main roster. But all in all, exciting matches there. Shout out to Nathan Frazier. By God, in the men's match. I don't know when it happened, but that man broke his nose, or at least it looked like he broke his nose. Eyes were swelling up later on. He was busted, bleeding here and there. It looked like it was his Phoenix Splashes where he maybe over-rotated, bashed his face into the mat a little bit. I really don't know. But this man pulling double duty with him and Axiom defending the tag titles against Miles, Bourne, and Tavion Heights. That was an incredible match as well. Just props to Nathan for toughing it out and doing the match. Axiom being impressive as always and doing his stuff. And this was a good showing out for No Quarter Catch Crew with Miles and Tavion. Tavion, I know, did that little, adventure. That's not it. Over to New Japan. No, maybe not New Japan, but Japan in general, and it seemed like he had a lot of success there. So, cool to see that match. If you missed it, I would recommend go checking it out. A lot of drama in there. The only down point was Bronco Nima and Lucian Price showing up, OTM, and being like, meh, and doing absolutely nothing, so that was kind of dumb. I think those are the highlights from Deadline. Saturday night's main event last night. It was fine. It was your typical, just like, it's TV. I mean, it was on TV, so we got ads on Peacock. I thought it was more pay-per-view-esque. I thought we could have stayed, but we didn't. But yeah, it just felt like your typical Monday Night Raw or SmackDown with just everything's a title match. Good, just nothing phenomenal. Let's say standouts there or highlights. Chelsea Green winning in the end for the U.S. Women's Championship, being the first one there. Happy for her, ecstatic. Also really happy for Mia Yim, Michin, being in that spot as well. Obviously, she was there to serve a purpose, being the typical good guy versus bad guy, fill that role. She can eat a pin. But I'm glad we're seeing more and more of her in this spotlight. I think she's deserved it for a while. So hopefully that continues for her, and we can have her in more prominent and exciting roles going forward. I'm trying to think what else. Liv Io was good. I was hoping for an Io win there, and then we got the Liv Rhea tease at the end. I enjoy both these performers, but this is getting a little stale in my opinion, so I just want to move away from it personally. Kind of similar to the Finn Damien thing. Kevin Owens didn't win. I was kind of hoping he would win. Nothing against Cody. I just thought it would have been would have been a huge moment and twist there, especially with this weird not draft that's happening in these recent times building up to the Netflix debut of the transfer window. Apparently, superstars are now showing up on any brand they want. GMs are all in talks about trades. We saw Cody on Raw. We saw Gunther on SmackDown. Back when we did the most recent draft, the champions were locked in place. But now it seems like the champions might swap places without doing the stupid belt exchange. So that's confusing. I'm all fine for mixing things up. I think that's fine. I enjoy the draft premise. I don't know if it needs to happen yearly. Maybe you could do that every 2 years or something. Which maybe they will do, and then this just every other year they'll have a trading period, perhaps. I don't know. But then if you do that, does it take away from the draft and doesn't mean as much? That's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, it seems like they want to move Cody over to Raw with this whole Netflix thing. Netflix is getting the whole kit and caboodle, it seems. And then SmackDown will be over there. But then SmackDown's going to 3 hours, allegedly, as well. So maybe there'll be some NXT call-ups to pad sounds bad, but build that roster up. We'll have to keep our eyes on that. Where was I going with that? Oh, yeah, I was kind of hoping Kevin would win. Then you didn't have to trade the champions. And then you could also make it a little bit more dramatic there. Him and Orton, him and Sammy, if they're doing that. Would have been nice. Trying to think of what else has happened in the world of wrestling of interest. Penta's now a free agent. Hasn't shown up yet. Thought that might have been Carmelo's opponent, but now it's just Braun Strowman coming back from his groin injury. I think that's all the talking points I can think of. IC Women's Championship tournament still going on. Dakota's moved on. Awesome. Lyra's moved on. Awesome. I think we still got Alba Fire and Natalia. Ooh, who else is in that tournament? Maybe I should have looked up first. But I'd be happy with each of the 2 qualifiers right now. Either them winning it. As rumors swirling around that backstage they want Natalia to win it. While I understand rewarding Natalia for her longevity, I don't know if that's what I want, being the first one. Maybe eventually. But that's just my 2 cents. Yeah, I think that's everything pretty much there. Jesse the Body Ventura coming back was nice. He did a great job. Seemed a little lost when it was him and Joe Tessitore up there. But him on commentary for that final match was fun. It was good hearing him be the heel commentator again, pointing out Cody did use the chair. Kevin, while initiating the chair, never used it. So that was another fun narrative that I'm sure Kevin Owens will pick up on as well. Of you cheated to win and you had to take shortcuts so we could get the rematch there. Maybe that's when he'll lose. Yeah, I think that's it. We're getting close to Rumble season, and by close, I mean we still got another month and a half. So we can't talk about that yet. Shotzi made a return. Glad to see her back from, I believe it was knee injury. She's back on NXT, tagging with Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan against, what the hell are they called? It's very close to Toxic Attraction. Toxic something. No. Doesn't matter. But that's them. Yeah. Glad to see Shotzi back. What's Chase you doing? What are we doing there? Who talked to Mr. Chase? Who called him out in the hallway? I need to know that. Is it Bodie Hayward? I don't understand why that would be exciting if he was back. Somebody called him out. Where's the redemption? We'll see. But this has been another episode of The Wait Where We Talk About Podcast. My name is Bret, a.k.a. Enigma911. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me today and your patience with the, not hitting these every week in recent times. As we're going into the holiday, the hope is to have some pre-recorded content for you guys, so check back here and all that jazz. Check out socials, whatever. If you ever want to catch the podcast live, when we do it live, you can go over to twitch.tv/Enigma911. You can drop a follow over there. You'll get notified when we go live, so you join in the fun and conversation. If you can't catch live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, any way you can support the show, like, shares, subscriptions, all that jazz may seem small, but does help the channel grow. So if you take the time to do that, we would love and appreciate you for it. Once again, sorry for missing episodes here, but thank you for checking out the other content that we have done, whether it's the live streams, the VODs, the shorts that we're experimenting with. It's cool to see the feedback there and see the numbers there, so I do appreciate it. Looking forward to chatting along with you guys more in the next year, but also hopefully you guys enjoy the next couple episodes that we do have coming out, talking about Game of the Year stuff and some other fun topics. So all in all, thank you guys for checking this out. Thanks for giving it a watch, giving it a listen, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.